All right. So, welcome to Night Owl Digital and Comms training. When we were putting together this training, Trinity and I noticed that we are night owls. So, we wanted to keep with that, aligning with our timelines. And I'm so glad to see some night owls join us, especially in. I see some comms people, I see a lot of creatives. So, thank you for joining us today. And if this is your first time at an Instituto training, welcome. And if you've been to any one of our trainings, your fam, welcome back. So let's get started. So for those who don't know, Instituto's mission is to build sustain political power with low-income communities and communities of color in Arizona. And how do we do that? We do that by accelerating organizations, like many of y'all here, by focusing on leadership, development, scaling electoral campaigns, and we incubate organizations and solutions to mobilize voters and build capacity. So, oops, I was on the wrong slide. Sorry about that. Sorry, y'all. Night owl, I probably need another cup of coffee. All right, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Tanya. I am the Instituto Marketing Communications Coordinator, and my pronouns are she, her, and ella. My life in randomness, I love that. I'm using this from Trinity's last training. My life in randomness is my dogs, Loki and Evie. I was born in Chihuahua. I'm a Virgo. Some of y'all knew that in the chat. I love to sew, and my favorite holiday is Halloween. And now I'd like to introduce Trinity, my partner in crime. Go ahead, Trinity, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Trinity. My pronouns are she and they. The time I usually go to sleep is like midnight, something like that. But my life in randomness, that is my puppy Junie. She doesn't quite look like that anymore. Her ears are like bigger now and they stick up like that. She might come around while we're here. I'm from Texas, so like the Texas Mood playlist, I'm resonating with it. I love to cook. This is like, it might look weird. I don't know if it looks good or weird, but it was really good when I ate it. It's a tuna steak. I'm a pescatarian. And then to the side is like this zucchini pasta. And I made this dressing for the first time, blended up lime juice and cilantro and like some garlic, I think, and made like a dressing. Yeah, I love a good recipe. I'm a Scorpio. I don't think I have any Virgo in my chart. That's okay. And then I love music, playing music, listening to music, all that stuff. So that's me. And then I'll also take us through the group norms. These are just some community agreements as we're gonna share the Zoom space together tonight. So I'll go ahead and go through these really quickly, then y'all can let us know if we missed anything. So this first one says what's said here stays here, what's learned here leaves here. And that really is just respecting the privacy of the Zoom space. Like, you know, if we're like really tired and someone like has their camera on, it's like they're almost passed out their computer, let that stay in the Zoom. Like let's respect the space, as well as anything that anyone shares as well. But with that, taking what we've learned and applying it through our work or wherever else we see fit. Flow in, flow out, take space, make space, meaning, you know, be aware of how much space that you're taking up, allow others to step up as well, but also like knowing that this is a safe space to do so. So if you do want to speak up, if you're not usually the person to do so, if you have questions, don't hesitate. And then this third one is one speaker, one mic. It could be really hard to hear everyone on Zoom if we're all like unmuted at the same time. So either you could definitely utilize the chat or just one speaker, one mic. And this last one is jargon giraffe. So, we're in the comp space right now. So if someone, when we're talking about newsletters, if anything comes up and you're like, I don't know what that word is, feel free to unmic or not unmic, unmute or drop in the chat any questions you have about any type of words or any type of jargon that we use. Sweet. And then I'll give us a second or two if anyone wants to add anything to our agreements to make themselves feel safer. I think we're good.
We're good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Trinity. You may not, I don't know why I attract Scorpios in my life. So I think you balanced me out. So I love it. So thank you so much, Trinity. So before we begin, so I want to know a temperature check. So I want to know, drop in the chat a 1 if your organization has a newsletter and you want to improve upon it, or drop a 2 if you've never sent a newsletter and want to start sending one. Okay, I see ones. Cool, awesome. So we are newsletter folks. I love it. Cool. 2, Victoria, we gotta get you a date. We need to do a data newsletter. Cool, awesome. But this is also a learning space, so maybe there's things that maybe you haven't heard before, and also feel free to share some of your newsletter stuff. And there will be opportunities for that. Awesome, cool. Cool. So our learning objectives for tonight. So first, we're going to create a from start to finish newsletter workflow that works for your organization. 2, we're going to plan out newsletter content using our template. And 3, we're going to identify best practices to get people looking forward to your newsletter. I know we spend so much time, at least I do, I spend time curating this newsletter that we have for Instituto. I've given my newsletter baby to Trinity, but we want to get folks excited. Like I want to see, excited to see that email pop in their inbox. So why should every organization or brand have a email newsletter? For one, emails are here to stay, and they're important because social media platforms are not going to be here forever. So y'all who dropped the 1 in the chat, you know the importance of that, right? I'll give y'all an example last year when Facebook and Instagram was down. I believe it was the last day for AZ folks to register to vote. And that was the same day. So what we did was we got on our newsletter and we sent out that reminder of like, hey, register to vote. So email is is basically our flagship, right? And 2, accessibility. Almost everyone has an email. Statistica estimates that 4.1 billion people worldwide use an email. By contrast, Facebook comes in second. They've roughly had 2.8 billion active users at the end of 2020. So email is queen. And then 3, two-way communication between your organization or your brand to the reader is super important, because these are the folks who care about your mission, the people who are going to do those call to actions, and they're also the people who can give you feedback as well. So curating your newsletter, building that relationship with these folks is super important. So let's start. So our first objective, we want to create a from start to finish newsletter workflow. And we're going to go through some simple ways to create your own newsletter workflow. And maybe some of y'all already have some of these in place, or you want to keep improving on that workflow. So email providers, where do you send your email newsletter through? Instituto sends ours through Every Action, and maybe that could be a different training if I see more people say, hey, I need help with Every Action newsletters. Some folks use Squarespace, MailChimp, Wix, and so much more. So I want to know from y'all, what are the email providers that y'all use that are maybe not mentioned in this list? And I see Abigail says Action Kit. I have never heard of that one. Wow. Okay, cool. There's so many. Like there's countless of email marketing tools out there. It's what you use at Progress nationally. S'more, I've never heard of that one. There's one we use Constant Contact, and we'll use MailChimp too. Yes, so there's so many out there. So whatever providers we use or email providers that we use, hopefully this workflow still helps, right? And if anyone wants to do like a deep dive into every action, I'm here too to do any one-on-one coaching. Okay. Cool. So first, we want to set, now that we know our email providers, a lot of y'all already on that. So that's awesome that you guys already have that email provider. So we want to set the cadence, right? So how many times do we want to send that newsletter? And this is super important because you want to create a cadence so your audience members can look forward to that. And this is very experimental. Instituto used to send newsletters monthly. And we found that as we were adding more trainings and everything, we couldn't do monthly. We had to start doing weekly stuff as things were moving. So you need to know, like, do I want to do bi-monthly? Do I want to do weekly? Once you set that time, see what works, you know, try it out for like a month, maybe a quarter, and see what comes out of that. So definitely feel free to experiment, and know that your cadence is not set in stone. And then the next thing is to select your second set of eyes. My second set of eyes is Trinity. For someone who does emails, you know, writing them out, sometimes you miss things. Sometimes you forget the link. It's happened to me before, or I misspell someone's name. So make sure you have a second set of eyes. And it can be someone at your organization, it can be your manager, your coworker. So make sure you have an email checker, because oftentimes we have these huge lists, and it's not, newsletter isn't something that you can go back and edit, you know, like a social media post or editing that caption, deleting it. Like once it goes out, it goes out. So if you can find someone who can look at it before you send it out. Shout out to Trinity, who is my email checker, and I'm their email checker too. So that's just kind of a way that we work through it. But if you are like in a pinch and don't have someone to check it, we actually created a newsletter checklist. So you can go through and be like, okay, I checked all the links. I made sure all the names are right. So we'll share that later on in our training. And I'll pause right there for any questions or reactions. You can come off mute, or any questions in the chat. Yeah, I've heard, uplifting Jenny's, she said, we'll always miss MailChimp though. Yeah, I've heard MailChimp is awesome, like design and everything. Cool. All right, so if there's no questions or reactions, I will keep going. All right. So our learning objective 2 is to plan out our newsletter content using our template. I get writer's block, y'all. I will sit there and I'm like, what am I going to do this newsletter on? So I started to create a template a few months back, and I'm like, okay, this works for us. This works for Instituto, and I can just plug in the things that I need to do. So that's why I created a newsletter template for y'all who also have the, you know, writer's block of like, ooh, what do I do next, right? What am I going to put in this newsletter? So before we do that, before we look at that template, I want y'all to think about your content plan. What do you want your organization or your brand to include in this newsletter? Can be connected to your mission, amplifying things, you know, call to action and everything. So that's something that you want to think about. Like what aligns with my organization that I want to share. So copy Instituto's email content template. Um, I call this my email sandwich when I don't know what I'm going to put in our newsletter. So at the beginning of your email, you want to have your big news, your call to action. This is like your organization's big news. Often it is the call to action. You want people to attend an event, a training, sign a petition, go to our website, do the XYZ. So you want to start that at the very beginning, kind of like I come from a journalism background, so it's kind of like your lead, right, of your email. The next thing is your free spot, I call it. You want to humanize your newsletter too. And this can be anything you want to amplify that connects with your audience. Sometimes we celebrate our staff members or organizations' victories. I find it that people like to see that. They want to see like who is in your organization, you know, what are the victories that have happened. So something that highlights something about your organization. And Instituto's free spot, our free spot is right now is our partner organization highlight. So we like to put, like, we've done Progress Arizona. We've also done Mass Lib too. So we have that spot just for the organizations that we want to amplify their events, you know, their missions, or sometimes donations too. So yeah. But my favorite part of the email is ending your email with a newsletter gift. That's what I like to call it, or self-care or resource. Some of those examples could be a poem, a music playlist. Poder en Acción has like an amazing music playlist that I love to listen to. So think of the things that your organization offers as a resource and share that out in your newsletter. It can be a reading list. It can be a giveaway. I know Mass Live has a reading list right now. I think it was like a book club. So maybe sharing that, like what books are you reading right now? And then if your organization has some extra money or maybe some merch, maybe you can even do a giveaway to your readers for being subscribers. But I think that part right there of the email is something that gives people something else to look forward to, something like you know, that you're giving back to them as well, since they support you in being an email subscriber. And then the optional ending, you can end your newsletter with a donation ask or a newsletter feedback survey. I love both of those things. I love when our organization gets money and feedback. So this could be an optional ending. Sometimes Instituto plugs it in, depending if we have like a fundraising event, or we want to get more feedback on our newsletter. And from our last like feedback surveys that we've posted, a lot of people love that self-care resource. So that's something that we've kept in our newsletter, and I hope more partner organizations also do that as well. And our learning objective 3 is our newsletter best practices. This is actually from one of our readers who let us know that they actually love seeing our newsletters and they read them. So this is something that keeps us going and keeping curating that our email list. So here are a few newsletter best practices from Mail Model. And some of these we actually use at Instituto. And I'll have Trinity drop that link for the full list of them, but I'll go through a few of them that they mentioned. So first, you want to tell people what they're signing up for in your email. Be very specific, tell them what topics you're covering, maybe what's your mission in their newsletters, and how often they're going to get those newsletters as well. So those two things when you're creating your content plan is the cadence and what is the content that they're going to see. And two, write newsletters that offer value to readers. So like I mentioned before, how we give them a newsletter gift, right? And it doesn't have to cost money. It could be, hey, I saw this blog or this on self-care or community care. Give them something to look forward to that adds value to their life. And three, keep your email content concise and easy to read. Often people will scan through those emails. I think last time I checked, it was like people spend probably a minute gazing at an email and then they'll jump off. So, keep everything very clear, concise. I do a lot of bolded text too for like calls to actions. And I always say less is more. And then break up those paragraphs too with images. I use a lot of things from Giphy or Instagram. As long as I'm crediting the artist, it can make your newsletters like be very beautiful. I know Progress Arizona has beautiful graphics all the time, so uplift that content, uplift the beautiful graphics that you see online, as long as you give them credit. Yeah, shout out to TJ for those. Those are I love all of Progress Arizona's graphics. And then four, like I said, use images to enhance your newsletter. I like basically repeated myself, but yeah, using those images really help. There's as long as you're crediting people, it's you're amplifying their work as well. Maybe a plus one to if you're an Arizona based organization and you do like Arizona artists or something like that. But yeah, uplift those things. And then Trinity dropped in the chat more tips from that blog that we picked up from Mailmodo. All right. What's worked for Instituto? Sending emails on Thursday afternoons has worked for us. This took a lot of experimentation. We used to do Tuesdays. We did a Friday once and it did not do well. I think we did a Sunday one too, but I think all of this is like experimentation. See if people open their email in the morning on a Wednesday, but it also depends on the line of work, right? If you're doing probably more legislative sessions, maybe people will see more calls to actions on Monday, or they'll do more calls to actions on Mondays and Tuesdays. So it all just depends, but feel free to experiment. Another thing that's worked for us is putting a staff member's name in the sender line. Currently, Trinity sends all the newsletters, so it'll be Trinity from Instituto. As long as you put like from the organization you're from, people will know who it is. But I think it makes it more personable and people actually connect with Trinity too. I think you get some reply backs as well because they see you as a person and not as a robot, right? Or like just this whole entity that's an organization. Another thing that's worked for us is putting emojis in the newsletter subject line. We often get feedback from that. People love the emojis. All caps. We sometimes bring in the self-care piece into our subject line, so people are like, oh, I want to see I think one of them, Trinity, did like a free ice cream day or something, and people really clicked on that. Our job board, people really clicked on that. So make sure, I don't want to say clickbait, but like make those subject lines worth clicking on. But yeah. And then we want to know, are there any email practices that y'all have done that have worked for you? I know Progress Arizona does a great email, MassLib does a great email. So are there anyone feel free to come off chat and like let us know what the email practices have worked for y'all. Let's see. Abigail says our tweet of the week has been very popular. Yes. That's a really good idea too. Now, is it like any tweet or is it like something that's kind of like controversial, or maybe people really like that? Anyone else want to come off mic and share email practices that have worked? Abigail says, I usually try to pick something funny or snarky. Yes. Reactions. Definitely people like to see that. Cool. Okay. And then Perla says, curious what vibes everyone newsletter has, funny, inspirational, informational. Yes, I kind of want to know the vibe too. Instituto's vibe is more of like amplify, like very fun. I would say very cute too. We do a lot of cute like images, but it just depends, right, on your organization. What's the mood for your organization? But yeah, that's yeah, I kind of want to know funny, inspirational, informational. Yeah. Thank you, Perla. Yes, we love our newsletter here in Instituto. All right, cool. We're going to sorry. Someone come off mute.
Oh yeah, that was just me. I was saying, I think ours like leans, it's informational and cutesy. It's like a balance of those two.
Yes, that's very true. Yes. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, like what is your organization's like feel? What's their tone? And what works for us may not work for another organization. So, like I said, keep experimenting with that. Cool. Let's move on to our activity. So we are actually ahead of time, which is awesome. So we're going to create your newsletter workflow and draft out your content for your next newsletter. I'll have Trinity drop this in the chat. So we'll have the link in the chat. So once you see that link that Trinity drops, we're going to click on that newsletter guide link. We're going to make a copy, and we're going to take the next 10 minutes to fill out our newsletter guide worksheet. So go ahead, Trinity, drop that in the chat. So go ahead and click on that newsletter guide link and give me a thumbs up once you make a copy and you have access to it. Thumbs up. You can react as well. Just want to make sure everyone has access to it. Okay, I see a heart. I see thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, cool. So we're going to take the next 10 minutes to go through that newsletter workflow. So this is very independent work. If you have any questions with it, just let me know, come off mute or drop anything in the chat. But I'm going to start playing music and y'all can just go through that. Also, I'd love feedback as well. I'm going to start playing music. We'll come back at 7:45.
Today, though I'm far away, your fantasy I love, just can't get enough. You may not be
And so this guide is all, it's all for you. You can make a copy. Actually share what this guide looks like real quick. So basically like your newsletter workflow, where you're sending your newsletter from. I hear a lot of people had an other newsletter provider that are not mentioned here, so you can do other. Setting that cadence of how often you want to send that newsletter. And like I said, feel free to experiment. Select your second set of eyes, who's going to check that newsletter, manager, coworker, friend. And then we have a spot for you to write out your content plan, and that can be anything, what you want to amplify, what aligns with your mission. We also have newsletter content template, just kind of giving you like an email sandwich of what it could look like. And it might look different on different email providers, but I think this is a good starting point. So we got our big news, our call to action, our free spot, humanizing your newsletter. It could be like, kind of like Progress Arizona said, the tweet of the day. That's something that kind of humanizes and makes something very fun to look at. Your newsletter gift. And then I put like insert photo or GIF if you wanted to put a photo in there. I definitely recommend putting photos in between your blocks of text. And then at the very end is like a checklist. Let's say, for example, you don't have someone to check your email. You can just go through here. Grammar and spelling are checked. I like to use language tool or Grammarly. The names are correct. Dates and times are correct. And then also checking how it looks like on mobile. A lot of people check their emails through mobile, so make sure that newsletter looks good there too. And then last but not least, all the links are clickable and they go to the right places. Yeah, I see some messages in the chat. Perla says, curious, what is your method to line up your content ahead of time? Like, do you write a list somewhere or do you start drafting immediately and add as you go? The way I've been doing it lately, Trinity and I have a one-on-one together of what we want to put in the newsletter for the following week. So I recommend if you're doing like a weekly newsletter, I'm going to set 1 week ahead of time to like plan out that content. I used to be very free for all, like sometimes writing that newsletter the day it needed to be sent, it was not sustainable for me. It was just not good. So yeah, I try to line up that content ahead of time, at least a week, but it could be different. Someone who does like a monthly newsletter could plan a month ahead, but definitely set some time apart so you can draft that content. But I think what stays the same is kind of the buckets, right? Like the buckets of what you want to put in there. I hope that answers your question, Perla. And then Lucia says, hi, Tanya. So I will answer that in private chat. Okay. Answering some questions.
You taught me how to be a real man. I'll be right here holding your hand. You taught me how to be.
Lucy, I'm answering your direct message.
Yes, you did.
Good questions, y'all. Any other questions? We'll take another 5 minutes just to go through the newsletter guide, fill out what you can. Also, this is a copy for y'all. You can feel free to tweak it. Like I said, what fits for our template, our organization might not fit for you, but you can add things, you can get rid of things. So this is all for you to just have a starting point, right? Take a couple more minutes. And also, like I said, I'll share this later on, but you can set up a one-on-one coaching with me where we can deep dive into the email provider that you have and see how we can make a template for you as well. Because when I came into Instituto, I did not know every action. So it was just a learning experience. And I know every email provider has a different way of doing things. So we can definitely like do a deeper dive into whatever email providers y'all use. Hi, new folks who are joining. We are currently doing an activity where we're filling out our newsletter guide link.
I'll redrop that in the chat for anybody who missed it. Oh, there you go.
Got it. There you got it. Yeah. Also, I will be sending this recording. If anyone wants to reference back to this, everyone in this email, in this chat will get a recording. And also folks who weren't able to attend will get this recording as well. We'll take 2 more minutes. All right, before we wrap up, are there any questions on this newsletter guide? Any feedback? Perla says, super helpful, thank you. Much appreciated. Like I said, I love templates. Like they help so much when you have writer's block or you don't know where to even start. Cool. I'm glad to hear that. Yes, I love checklists too. Very new to Lucero, very new to this, so this is helpful. Cool. Abigail says, I appreciate the tips on making newsletter more personable. Love the checklist. We'll share this with the team. Yes, share this out. Like I said, this is yours. Tweak it. Make a copy, share it out. It's yours to do whatever you'd like with it. All right. Let me pause this music. Awesome. Well, thank you for looking at that template. So I want to know, share your newsletter workflow and content plan. Come off mic or share in the chat. Maybe share what you do already. Just want to know, especially like someone who loves newsletters. I want to know what other people are doing too, and what works for them. So feel free to come off the mic. You can raise your hand. Don't be shy. We're just night owls here in community.
I'll go. I work at a high school doing student services, and we have a newsletter for students, but we've noticed over the last couple of years, students get so many emails a day. So we really want to find a way, how can we get our newsletter sent out and be what they're clicking on? It's obviously students aren't reading every single email, so what can we do to make it more pop out for them to click on it, check it out, and just be able to click, give them resources as well. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Javier. Yeah, I also see that happen in our work too. It's like they see so many emails. So that's why I think having very fun emails, having something that they look forward to is something that they will click on. Um, you know, make it fun. It could be even for your high schoolers, maybe your favorite TikTok of the day. Maybe it's not tweet of the day, but it could be like your favorite TikTok of the day. Like create that community, right? Make them laugh. Get a reaction from them. So I thank you for sharing that, Javier. I'm gonna uplift some messages in the chat. Victoria says, love to learn this process on what you do on the back end and looking forward to building a newsletter for BFTF and data things. Yes, I think there's a lot of back end stuff like reaction things. But I think it's the content, right? Of like how do you connect with the people? Like you always want to think about your audience, right? Like what are they going to be interested in? Sometimes we get stuck in like, oh, I think this is cool, so I'm going to share it. But sometimes we have to get that feedback too. Victoria is always telling me about like getting feedback, right? So like I said, like ask people what they want to see in a newsletter, ask them what they look forward to, right? So I think having that two-way communication is very helpful. Does anyone else? I think we have time for one more person to come off chat and share their newsletter workflow. Lucia says, looking at our newsletter now and usually have a short title with a queer icon or something to allude to that sass in the culture, then have a graphic head, but it becomes very much organizational update report back. So going to make more shifts to make it fun and informative. Yes, I definitely agree. That would be super cool. Just to, make it personable. It's your voice too. Make it fun. So thank you for sharing that, Lucia. I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing your newsletter. Y'all should drop all your newsletters in the chat. Like, let's all sign up for our newsletters. Before we move on to the next thing, grab your link of we'll share ours. Instituto will be last, but share all the newsletter links so all of us can see each other's newsletters and get inspired. We have, Abigail says we have 4 sections: tweet of the day, read it, play it, do it. Definitely also want to incorporate making it more fun and interesting. Besides the tweet of the week, it's mostly info. Yes, so make it fun. Make it make them look forward to those newsletters. TJ, I see you DM'd me. Can I share that with everyone else? Okay. Yes, sign up for the Progress Arizona newsletter for their tweet of the week. We could also start like an email. Well, when I send that email, we could all share our newsletter links and actions. Cool. Cool. Awesome. We are going to move forward. Thank you for sharing, everyone. Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing as well. Arizona Democracy Resource Center. I love y'all. Y'all are amazing. And your website is currently down. So we'll look forward to once your website is up. Follow Arizona Democracy Resource Center, y'all. They're doing amazing work. Okay. Back to my thing. Oh, that was my any other questions on newsletter other than the guide? Anything else that we shared today? Any advice? I'm feeling in my Virgo-ness, so you know, Virgos love to give advice. Sometimes unsolicited, but you know. Any questions? You can download some art and sign up if you want. No pressure though. Tell them, Lucia. Unapologetic. Yes, I'm gonna check that out. Cool. All right, if there's no other questions, cool. All right, so we, Instituto, is very proud to be a data-driven organization that uses research and data to inform our work, including our trainings. And we love feedback. I feel like I have said that so many times, as it really helps us to continue to improve our practices and design powerful and effective trainings. We've included a short survey. Please take a second to pull up the survey so you can fill it out after training. By scanning the QR code on your phone or clicking on the link that Trinity will drop in the chat. It should only take a minute or two, and we would really, really love and appreciate it. Our data queen, Victoria, also loves and appreciates that because, like I said, we are very data driven. So we love to hear feedback. It should take a few minutes. I'm going to play some music. So take a few moments to fill out that survey. And we're doing great on time. Woohoo!
Be putting down your pride. No need to have fear.
Hi, everyone. Tanya let me come in here. So I'm Victoria. Thank you so much, Tanya and Trinity. This has been amazing. So add on to these pieces, there's also the data side, right? Data and comms are really much like BFFs, right? On the back end. So if y'all want to build a survey specific to your audience and you want to have a think partner, please reach out to us. I'll share a sample. So me and Tanya sat and we created a survey to ask our folks, right? That was really intentional. So that's something that's offered to you also. If you want to create a survey with any tools that you have, or, you know, we can figure out how it could land in your organization. So to make sure that one of the things that Instituto really centers is getting feedback from community. So as you can know, in all of the things that we do is because we created a channel for feedback, right? That's like in community, in person, but then also because we do a lot of virtual pieces, these surveys really, really help us. And we literally read them, we read everyone's responses, and we design based on that. So if that's something that you want to do, if it's new to you all, or it's something that you just want to improve, or if you're the only data person or the only person you want to have a thought partner, please reach out. So we'll be sharing that information. So we do value all of our feedback that you all. Hola, Perla. Hi, everyone. Yes. So I'll be here to, yeah, if you have any questions on those things.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Yes, +1, data and comms are best friends. That's why we do our communities of practice together, which is a space where we convene as data and comms folks once a month, which you can find that in our calendar on our website if you want to join. Y'all are always welcome and invited if you want to be thought partners and whatever you're working on. Yes, data equals information. Right, I'm gonna give a few more minutes. Give me a thumbs up if you completed the survey. We got 2 thumbs up. Caitlin, Abigail, yes. Yes, Perla, you one-on-one coaching. We can do it together. We can be thought partners together. Your fam. Currently working on the survey. Cool. All right, we got hearts. One more minute.
Though I'm far away, your fantasy I love, just can't get enough. You may not be everywhere I go.
Thank you, TJ. Yes, TJ, thank you. And I love those graphics. Man, those are amazing. Y'all really know how to do it. Bye, TJ. Thank you so much. Yes, 4 folks have filled out the survey. Still at work, but we have the survey pulled up. Make sure it's survey. Okay, cool. Thank you, Lucero. All right. All right. Cool. So, last but not least, well, not last yet. What is one takeaway from tonight's newsletter training now that you went through the survey and processed a little bit? So what is your one takeaway from tonight's training? The checklist, and I love emojis and subjects, so that too. The template, thank you so much. Anytime, anytime. Filled out the survey, appreciate the space, community, and the checklist is just it. Thank you, Lucia, so much. Bird Lab, permission to have fun. Yes, permission to have fun. Make those newsletters like I said, make people look forward to them. Make them shareable, make them, funny, make people laugh, get people to do call to action, right? Create that community. The template was still helpful. Thank y'all so much. This honestly, like all of this makes creating these trainings worth it. As a comms person, sometimes we feel all over the place, at least for me, like as a creative, like so it's good to be thought partners with each other. So continue to build this community, not only with the people who read your email list, but also the people who do communications and organizations or data too. So create those relationships together. Thank you, Perla, for coming. Yes. And that before we head out, we want to uplift. Oh, so yes, like I said, take what you learn here, apply what works for you, your organization, your brand, and always keep experimenting. And last but not least, this is last but not least, y'all, I promise. This Wednesday, please join us for our Praxis in Action video series facilitation with Luis Avila. Facilitation was super scary for me before I watched this facilitation video series. The whole team and I have been putting these video series together this whole year. And I had to watch a lot of Luis Avila over and over and over again as editing happens, right? Like doing editing rounds. And I learned so much from his facilitation. For those who don't know, Luis Avila is the founder of Instituto. And when you see him in action, you're like, wow, he can do it, right? So please join us this Wednesday, August 31st at 6 p.m. Also en la noche, at night, like us night owls, right? RSVP at Instituto/calendar. Trinity will drop the link in the chat. And also, like I was saying, if you want more newsletter coaching with comms, or you want to create a survey and you want that data coaching as well to supplement your comms, sign up for coaching at instituto.io/coaching 2022. And then if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, sign up. Sign up to receive fun mail, get inspiration. I love to see people open the newsletter and interact with it. Also flag me on things. If me or Trinity forget a link, let us know too. Like, that's okay too, right? So like, we love feedback, like I said. And Victoria said we can also do newsletter A and B testing. Yes. So we are here to help and support y'all. All right. Trinity, could you, for the people who can get on camera, I would love a photo of all of us that we can share on social. If you can jump on camera, and Trinity can take a screenshot of us. Perla. Hi, Perla. Hi, Caitlin. Oh, I love seeing your faces, y'all.
Do you want to
love it.
the screen share real quick?
Yes. Let me stop share. Okay.
Hey, look at all.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Get your pose ready. Wait, sorry. Got it.
Got it. Awesome. Thank y'all. Thank you, Night Owls. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much for being in community with us and learning and growing together. We'll be sending an email so you have all these resources in case you missed it, and the recording as well. Thank you so much and have a good night. Do not stay up so late. I see y'all 2 a.m., 1 a.m. in the morning. Get your sleep though. Get your sleep. If you I sleep in all the time, so. I'm gonna play some music as we close out. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all so much. Bye.
Tanya,
Hey, what's up?
I want to show you something.
Show me.
Ozzy.
Is it Ozzy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ozzy's my dog. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Trinity. I don't think we've gotten to meet yet. But I am an Instituto fangirl. And I love Victoria.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Jenny's Monzone 2021.
Jenny,
Hi.
He looks
Oh, did
I
you
actually-
shave him down?
I didn't shave him. The monsters at Wagon Wash in Scottsdale shaved him.
Oh no.
Yeah. Trying
Trinity, for context, he's a long-haired Pomeranian. So
Oh my
Oh,
god.
I just wanted to show. I feel like I've been needing to show Tanya. It's been like
Oh my god.
Right, that's
Were
all.
you
That's all.
were you
Oh my
were you
god.
pissed, dog mom? Were you
Are we still
pissed?
recording? LOL.
Sorry.
Okay, let me
Okay, I'll let y'all be. I just wanted to show y'all real quick. Have a good night. Thanks for
Okay,
this.
looks like a little bear.
Like a little
Oh my god. So